Hello and welcome. My name is Rick Barretto, and I am one of your hosts, really on a very historic evening we're going to share with you. Myself, along with some of our colleagues here that you'll be meeting in a moment, really have something special to share. This is the very first time in the country of Mexico where we have distinguished and awarded some of the very top gamers, personalities, and really special people that have had a enormous impact on the video game industry as a whole, and then specifically in the wonderful country of Mexico. So this was something, as you're going to find out, that one of my friends, Walter Day, who is a legend, as well as one of the fathers and creators of esports, and has a fabulous track record in competitive gaming, world record scores. Walter came up with this fantastic idea to really distinguish some really special people. You're also going to find another one of our colleagues and one of our good friends, Billy Mitchell, who has been termed as the best video game player of the century. You know, premier world record holder in games like Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, and really one of the actual, gems of competitive gaming, one of the most influential people in the world in the history of gaming for esports and retro arcades. So Billy's going to also join us. And then, last but not least, Todd Friedman, who actually runs Walter Day's website and is also a big help to us in the broadcast, and really holds another very, very special place in the history of video games. So we all have come together to create this, and we're broadcasting this from our studios here in Carmel, Indiana, where I'm located. And then we've put together some software that some of my companies have created for broadcasting. So I want to warn you ahead of time, we are not, this is not the 100% most polished production. Our software is still in beta, and we're doing some things that, quite frankly, nobody has ever done in the video industry or in the gaming industry. So stay tuned in the future for that. But you got to bear with us. It was kind of rocky, but it's raw, it's rough. But the good news is we're able to record everything on our platform, and you're only going to see improvement from then. So without any further introduction, we're really, really excited and proud to be associated with these amazing people in the country of Mexico who have really helped ambassador and bring in and create awareness for the video game industry in their own respective ways. So enjoy the program, and we look forward to seeing you at next event. And hopefully you're going to be seeing these more and more often. So have a blessed day and enjoy watching really this amazing moment in history which was created. Take care.
And that planted the seed in my mind. It was kind of an inspiration seed. I thought, we know that there's a lot of interesting superstars down in Mexico who are locally renowned, but we want to bring them into onto a big stage of appreciation and give them a trading card that will last for a long time. So, we publish the trading cards, and the trading cards are designed to honor accomplishments and amazing contributions. So essentially, it's a long tradition we now have been doing of creating trading card award ceremonies. In fact, I think this is about the 107th trading card award ceremony that we've given. But this is a special one to me because I was contacted by Pablo, by Pancho, and when I was talking to them, I told them that one of my biggest desires, one of my biggest inspirations, was to somehow create exactly what we have here, and that is a ceremony to honor a ceremony to honor people from Mexico on the trading cards, and also bring public recognition to them here in a trading card award ceremony for their accomplishments or their contributions. So, how does the person get on a trading card? Well, we like to honor world champions who win contests. We like to honor world champions who make high scores or fastest speed moves. We like to honor. We like to honor people from Mexico on the trading. So I don't know if that's going to continue. Okay, so that's good. So it's good to see you aboard, Rick. So essentially, thank you for showing up tonight. Looks like we have 4, 5, 6. Do we have 7 or do we have 6 people with us tonight? I'm not sure who's in the middle bottom picture there. Is that Evelyn? Is that Billy Mitchell's spot?
Yeah, Billy's coming.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, based on this long tradition, now beginning its 11th year, the trading card award ceremonies seek to define and honor excellence. Excellence in your performance as a great gamer, or excellence in your devotion to the industry and to the culture. It's very interesting that at this time, after all these years, video games not only became just a game, but a much bigger thing happened around the video games. It created a community that was based on a culture. It has a culture that's based on a community. It has a community based on a culture, and we like to honor all aspects of that culture by honoring people who are in the community. So there were 11 people that Pablo and Pancho were able to find for us, because I asked them to find people who have accomplished something or contributed something, so that they would be able to, we would be able to honor them and give Mexico its first chance to have a trading card award ceremony, and give the respect to the gamers and the organizers and the leaders of. Here's Billy Mitchell. He's honors. So essentially, without too much ado, you're being waved at, Billy. Okay, without too much ado, let's introduce some of these people. Okay, well, first of all, thanks to Pablo and Pancho for making this happen. It was their incredible assertiveness, that brought our meeting together, so that we could go and. Without too much ado, I'm just watching all the different things go on the screen. Without too much ado, let's introduce them. Okay. Well, first of all, thanks to Pablo and Pancho for making this happen. They're incredible.
Do you guys know how to mute your
I think
mic?
someone's watching the live stream and it's on a delay, so we have to turn that off. That's what's happening.
Yeah, so at the bottom right of your screen, you have 4 options. One's labeled camera mic, and it's red if you press, and then you can mute yourself. Entonces, si ves en la pantalla, a la parte baja, hay un signo que parece un micrófono. Si le haces clic, se va a convertir verde y luego te vas a silenciar para que no se escuche todo el sonido atrás. Porque alguien está viendo el stream y se puede escuchar. Todos pueden escucharlo. Entonces, si no estás hablando, por favor, pueden silenciar su micrófono. Gracias.
Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. All right, Walter, go ahead.
Okay. By the way, is Brandon needing to interpret, translate everything I say?
So, I think a lot of people here can speak pretty well English, right? Or am I mistaken? Todos pueden hablar español o pueden entender bien, mejor digo. Si necesitan si necesitan traducción, si no entienden algo, si quieren que yo traduzca, me pueden interrumpir o preguntar y yo les traduzco. Okay? So, I was saying that everyone here understands English pretty well, and if they need me to translate something or ask a question towards you guys, and they don't know how to say it exactly in English, then I'll intervene. I'll ask the question for you,
Okay,
or for them. I mean,
we don't always know how to say it in English either.
yeah. So, whenever they want to ask a question, I'll come in and ask it for them.
Okay. So my name's Walter Day. I'm the founder of Twin Galaxies. I was the first assistant editor for video games for Guinness. And I guess there's a few other things I've done too, but I mainly started the trading card set as really not a business, but as a devotional statement, a devotional gift given back to the video game culture, the video game community, the video game industry. So now you folks are a part of that tradition of of being on a trading card that honors you for either your accomplishments or for your contributions, which have helped serve other people and benefit other people. So we're very honored to present you with trading cards tonight. And the staff here who has put together this meeting, it's not, I guess I organized it, but the actual technology and just the way this is all laid out tonight is by the top is Rick Barretto. So Rick is the founder of is it exactly called Gamer Palooza? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Video Game Palooza. And congratulations to all of you. And sorry for the technical difficulties. Everything you're seeing is new software that I've been developing for our training school and some other secret projects we're working on. So appreciate all your patience, and Todd's doing a great job putting this together. But congratulations to all of you.
And the man in the middle, and he's fittingly in the middle, is Todd Friedman. Todd Friedman is the editor of the Walter Day trading card book. He's the sort of like the webmaster in a sense. He's the chief editor of the that's the book. It's got all the cards in it from the first year of publishing the trading cards. And so he's the co-author of that book, and he's also the chief editor, the editor-in-chief of the Walter Day collection website, and he's generally becoming more and more a leader of the whole thing, of this whole project that we've been rolling out here as the days have been going on. And down at the bottom is Billy Mitchell, who's probably is the most famous video game player in the world, who's the video game player of the century, and declared back in 1999. He's the first perfect Pac-Man. He's the first person to reach a kill screen on Donkey Kong. A lot of accomplishments that are one-ups that no one else will be able to take the credit away from him because he did them first or did them better. So Billy's been quite a standout in the gaming community for many, many decades. And we're honored to have him here to be one of our co-hosts as we introduce the people and give out their trading card awards. So I have a habit of getting too talkative, so I'm going to kind of like...
folks, sorry, I have the report that some people can't hear us at all in the transmission.
Yeah, this is Rick, and there is something with our streaming server, but I am recording the whole thing with sound here, and as soon as we're done, I'm going to post it so everybody can watch and listen. So
maybe
apologize for the live stream.
Maybe everybody can post that statement someplace to those people who they know are complaining that it's all going to be posted up with the sound shortly after.
Correct.
So I don't have the list in front of me. Do you have the list of the order?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Are we ready?
You're ready. So the first person is Armando Castro, isn't it?
Yes, but nobody knows his name.
It's a group of Saya Leonard, and Quijano.
Armando.
Yeah, Armando Castro, but nobody calls him that. They call him Bala MX.
Is Bala MX here?
Right. He was the first player from Mexico to reach the finals at Evo, World Championship. And he is absolutely amongst Mexico's greatest, fighters. And probably his stellar year, probably the year when he shined the most, when he had his good fortune, was probably 2012. Simply nobody could beat him. And, whether he deserves to be first on the list, many could argue. But he certainly deserves to be here today. And he certainly deserves to be awarded, that's for sure.
So do we have the ability to show his card and his award?
The card and the poster are live right next to the stream.
Oh, I see. Okay, so those people who are watching and now listening, because they're going to be hearing this recorded thing, they can look at his card and they can look at his award, and see and appreciate this incredible accomplishment. And the award is in the mail. There was a problem getting them all signed because they had to be signed by 4 different signatories that were all around the United States, in Chicago, in Indiana, Florida, and Iowa. So it took a while to get them all signed, but they are all in the mail, and people will be getting their awards in the mail shortly. Now, anybody actually get their trading cards yet through the mail, because they were all sent out? Anybody want to raise their hand and say they got? So your cards, you got your cards in Gdansk, Poland? Okay, so
wow.
So Peter got.
He's the farthest one away, and he got the cards.
Yeah, he got them. Well, does the Mexico postal system operate in Poland? Well, that's why you got your cards on time. Okay, so anybody else get their cards? Because their cards were sent. Your cards were sent, I believe, 13 days ago, and usually in America, something like that would arrive in 3 to 4 days. So it's well, I guess it's a little bit slower in the Mexican postal system. So who's second on the list, Billy?
Well, what I'd like to ask is, second on the list, I'm too embarrassed to tell you the truth, but I'll tell you anyway. I can't pronounce his first name or his last name, so I always just say Delgado, or Mr. Delgado. Everyone knows him as TMR, the Mexican runner. Maybe one of you guys can actually pronounce the name correctly so you can educate us a little. His first and last name.
Yeah, I can pronounce it by myself. My name is Piotr Ruben Czesław Delgado Kuszelczuk. It's quite a long name.
Okay, now if Walter can repeat that accurately, I'm gonna buy him a free pizza.
I think that's a great name, and I think that we should give him a trading card just for his name too. just celebrating his name.
But it's okay. It's okay if we either call you Delgado or TMR. Yeah.
Yeah, TMR is better, or the Mexican runner.
Okay, what I want you to know that's so unique, and maybe you know this, and maybe you don't, but obviously what you're famous for is you were the first one to officially complete all 714 Nintendo NES games.
Yes.
That's incredible. It's an incredible feat, and I don't want to take that from you. But when I think of you, when I talk about you to people, when I speak to reporters, or they ask me my thoughts on you, you may not know this, but the number 714 in the United States, in the world of sports, because that's what we are as esports, that is a magical number, an absolute magical number. It could be argued that the one man who built the sport of baseball in the United States was Babe Ruth. You've heard the term, maybe, the house that Ruth built. He built baseball, and through its most difficult times, many would argue that if it wasn't for Babe Ruth, people would have stopped coming to games. Well, when he hit his final home run in his final game, it was 714 home runs. And it was a world record that they thought would stand forever. And again, he's arguably the most known or the greatest baseball player. That's such a recognizable number here in the USA. And so when I think of you or when I speak of you, I never forget to say that you did all 714. You were the first one to do it. And again, what makes it magical to me, you were first, as we say. No one else will ever be first. You were first. Somewhere somebody will do it, and they'll do it again. They'll do it twice over. But you'll always be first. You'll always be in history. You'll never be forgotten. You'll always have a place in Guinness Book of World Records because you were first. And I think that's absolutely, so cool. I mean, everybody can remember, what was your first plane ride? What was your first car? And so the fact of the matter that you were the first one to do that, and again, I draw the comparison, what you did was great, and I compare it to a great American icon of Babe Ruth was really cool. I'll be quiet now.
Well, that was pretty good. That's very impressive. By the way, I'm thinking people who are watching this broadcast and the later version of it, where they can actually hear what's going on, possibly a lot of these people are going to want your trading cards autographed. See, that's one of the coolest things about this, is that you are now celebrities, and you have the trading cards to prove it. And one of the things that usually comes next is that you'll start signing those cards for people who want to build a collection of autographed trading cards. So we're going to have to agree on what we're going to do after this broadcast is over, so that people can contact you. Either they send an email to me, and then I forward it to you, so you can keep your privacy, or we can go and post someplace. We can post someplace everybody's collective, autograph emails, so that the public can get a hold of you in order to have, to send you a request for an autograph. So that's what my thought is. So that was very nice. So thank you. So the Mexican runner, Piotr.
Yes.
Peter. Essentially, it's the name Peter.
Yes.
Walter's getting better at his Spanish.
I think that's Polish Spanish. So essentially, we did have a card from you before when we first acknowledged your accomplishment. That was a good card, but this card is. I favor this card more because this is more up to date, and also it's part of this could be a growing tradition. Because I see having a Mexican trading card award ceremony becoming an annual thing, because this will inspire more and more people to come forward with their accomplishments and be recognized. So I can see this growing and becoming an annual thing. So Billy Mitchell, who is next on the list?
Well, next is a guy and a name that you won't recognize, because Leonardo Lopez Perez. You don't know that name. MK Leo, that's what everybody knows him by. I think when he goes through the airport, nobody says, "Hello, Mr. Perez." I think the security says MK Leo, because again, that's what they know him by. Absolutely, obviously a professional video game player, but let's talk about Super Smash Brothers. And he is considered, and rightfully so, in all the circles that I speak and I hear, he's considered the best. And if someone wants to argue he's not the best, okay, well then he certainly is one of the best. He's won so many titles and tournaments, but most notably, the Evo World Fighting Championship in Las Vegas in 2019. He won. And what I like about this is I like to have fun. Someone will say, "Oh, well, you held the championship in 2019. You would say, "Yes, in 2020 as well." Well, I didn't know they had a 2020. Well, they didn't because of the pandemic. So that means you hold that title for 2 years. That's not your fault. So that's what I say. And the truth is he's that good. He's very likely would win again in 2020. But what I like so much about this in Super Smash Brothers, it's something I'm familiar with. Not that I'm good at it, I'm not. But every time I come across what I call a new age gamer, they always say, "Yeah, are you good at Super Smash Brothers?" every time I come across a wise guy, they say, I bet you I can beat you Super Smash Brothers. And I go, I guess you can. If there's one game that I'd like to say abracadabra that I'm good at, it would be Super Smash Brothers. So I obviously have a lot of admiration in this video. And again, he, along with the others we spoke of, absolutely deserves to be here at this first ceremony. So that's really the story on him.
And once again, you can see the card and the award on the sideboard there on the website. See what it looks like. And once again, all these awards are in the mail on their way to the recipients, as are the trading cards themselves, someplace there in the Mexican postal system, on their way to the recipients. Okay, so Billy Mitchell, that was good, very good, Billy. So who else is next in line?
Well, the guy that I just referred to as Gus, it's Gustavo Rodriguez. And he's one of my favorite guys on the list because he's an older guy. He's not a young punk. And the reason why I say is, for sure, again, when you listen to people speak, he's an icon throughout Latin America. He's the founder, one of the founders of the Latin American version of the prestigious Club Nintendo. Nintendo has had a lot of success in Latin America, as we know, and he is certainly somebody who helped lay the foundation for it. And in the 90s, he was the television show host of Nintendo Mania. And what I would say, sincerely, I often have it said, you know, in the rest of the world, but the truth is, guys like Gus, who worked hard, who laid the foundation in the 90s, who paid the price, put out the blood, sweat, and tears to help produce something or create something that actually wasn't there yet. And it's because of the work he did and the foundation he laid that the gamers in Latin America enjoy the position that they're in right now. So him being somewhat of an ambassador for the position that he had then, and the fact that he carries on that positive tradition and legacy through today. It's like being a mentor, a teacher, a professor. Not only does he have the experience and knowledge he has, but he passes it on so that his experience and what he's learned and what he helped create is passed on to other generations. So it's really cool whenever his name comes up in a conversation. And I don't want to have the same stupid line, oh, he's certainly somebody who deserves to be honored here today. Of course he does. He deserves to be honored here and long before here as well. Anybody else can jump in and say something nice about him too.
Congratulations.
I'm not the only guy that likes him, I don't think.
If may I jump in? Gus Rodriguez is as you really pointed out, like he has been an inspiration for many generations, for many gamers. We people from Mexico, we really respect him a lot. He's our guru of gaming. He teach everyone live, well, I mean on TV, how to beat all those difficult games back in the day. We didn't have like the Nintendo hotline, so our only resource of information was Gus Rodriguez videos that were like broadcast every Saturday. We were always glued to the TV, and it was really nice to see all that boom of Nintendo games, and that was the place like you could get all the tricks, all the tips, and he was very enthusiastic. He made everything really great and magical. And yeah, as you say, like he deserved to be like where he is like since long time before. Like he definitely is, as it says in the card, an icon. He's definitely an icon, and well, sadly, his legacy stays forever. That's for sure. is definitely an inspiration. Even the project I did myself, I took that inspiration of the program he did called Nintendo Mania, well, Nintendo Mania in Mexico and Latin America. So I even got inspiration from a lot of that, and yeah, it's one of the best feels that I ever had. Like, was meeting him in person, sharing just a few words with him, and yeah, he's a great person. That's all I can say. A great person overall, not only as a gamer icon. In general, he's a great person.
Yeah, see, I think about the achievement that each one of you has put into this. Each one of you, who I say, you're here because you did what 99.9% of the people were not willing to do, not willing to put that time and effort and hard work and resource and sacrifice into. And that is true. However, think about Gus. He didn't have the beauty of the internet when he began. You know, here we say that when somebody earned the position that he earned back then, he had to earn it in the raw, meaning it was just raw, hard work. Raw, meaning crudas. And when someone has to do that on that level, when they're on their own, when they almost don't have any help, I say almost. Obviously, he had good people around him. It just makes his accomplishment even that much more incredible. And because he did it then, and he's able to pass it on to today through technology, it makes his achievement even more far-reaching. So exactly as you say, I absolutely echo what you say.
We have well, I don't know if you're aware, but we have actually his son. He's representing Gus Rodriguez. He's right there on the camera. Probably he's struggling with the connections.
Yeah,
somehow.
I have an internet connection. Yeah, some problems. Thank you very much, guys, for these words. How are you? And I don't know. It's been an honor to be his son. Been working for, I don't know, like 20 years.
Well, thank you for honoring us. Thank you for honoring us by showing up.
He passed away.
Passed away.
Yes.
Yeah, his call is cutting a little bit, but a little bit earlier before you joined, he told me that actually today is a 6-month anniversary of, well, not anniversary, 6 months since he passed away. It was a very shocking news, like for all of us in Mexico and all Latin America. Like it's a very sad day when stuff like that happens, but his legacy remains, and like how many games he inspired. Many people that are here today, or many of us, like people in these cards, I believe that 90% at least of these people got inspired by him one or another way. So I really want to thank Gus Rodriguez for all he gave to
8 o'clock.
Yeah, one of the reasons why we do the card ceremonies, we do the awards, is it puts it in writing. It makes it real. It's logged into history, and then the contributions of the people who pass on are never ever lost. It's there. It's real. People can read about it. Their families can pass it on. Their families can comment or participate. And very often a family or one family member follows in their legacy and has their own contribution as well. So that is another reason why we like to do this, is because it's a guarantee that history and contributions will never be lost. Never.
Thank you very much for those words, and I appreciate everything. My father was working every time, loving video games and loving journalism and loving everything for Mexico and Latin America. Thank you very much, guys.
Like a press member, if you can hear me, I just want to say that Gus was an incredible person for all of in our childhood, we can, you know, we just saw the TV and learn about something that maybe we couldn't get in that month because all the Nintendo stuff was coming and coming and coming, and we want to get that new video game or knew that code or something, and he was just like the really big icon of Mexico and other countries in Latin America because all of them wanted to see another Nintendo Mania. And if, well, in the US you had Nintendo Power, like your magazine of all your kind of information, and he was Club Nintendo. So he was behind that part. He was behind the Nintendo Mania show. So for us in the video game press, he's like a father, and that's so cool that he's right here with us with his son, but in our hearts to get this trading cards and this award and this recognition. So that's all I want to say.
One of the things I thought is I didn't hear about his passing until sometime after it had happened. And I remember being so disappointed that I didn't hear about it. But being that it was the end of April, I think I heard about it. And the world was so consumed with the pandemic, and that's all everybody was talking about, that I thought him and his contribution and his passing obviously should have been spoken about more. But the pandemic was eating up the news around the world. So the fact that we're here and we're able to speak about him, speak more and more in the future, I think is really important. I think it's very respectful. I think it's a long time coming. I think we could have, would have, should have done it 6 months ago. But it's just been a crazy year in the world.
All right.
Well, this is the best way. The best way to just re-enliven our love and respect for Goose by coming together here as a group that's already there to honor him for all his contributions, but then also honor him for his life. So thank you for everybody being here, and thank you for all the kind and loving and words of appreciation that people have expressed. I'm so glad that we got Goose on a trading card. I know he would. Well, I personally believe, people know that I usually have a spiritual perspective on life. I personally believe that he's very aware of what's happening and very appreciative of what's happening. And so, Goose, we give this card to you. Wherever you are, this card is from all of us to you. Because when these cards are given out as part of a Mexican trading card award ceremony, it's really given on behalf of the community to the people who have performed well and really extended themselves to serve other people and make the community better and uplift all the members of the community. So that's really what this is all about. We are uplifting different members of the community with these trading cards because they in some way have already been uplifting the community and the culture through their own efforts. And that's the incredible unifying aspect of the trading cards. The trading cards are really honoring ourselves. So Goose, this card is for you, and thank you for all the love and creativity and intelligence you've given all of us for all these years. So thank you very much. Let's have an applause for. Very good. Very good. Now there's a list that Billy Mitchell has in his hands. Who's next on the list?
Well, you're going to laugh at the reason why I know the next guy. His name is, or at least the way I pronounce it, Edgar Ali. But you just say Seiya. Is that how you guys say it, Seiya? And he began his career. I guess he began his career around 2012, and the reason why I recognized him so quickly was because he's from Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, and the reason why I know Ciudad Obregón, Sonora so well is because there's really, really good hot peppers that come from there. And as you guys may or may not know, I'm in the hot sauce business, and man, like some of the best peppers in Mexico come out of there. So I always remember that when I first saw his name. And every time I saw something, every time I read something that had anything to do with League of Legends, I mean, his name was there. He was always there. It was like he never missed an event. He arguably has the most championships in League of Legends. I'm sure there's other people that are good, but if anybody has more than him, I'm not aware of it. So, to make a long story short, he's definitely a legend in the world of League of Legends. So, that's what I know best about him is League of Legends, and comes from an area with great hot peppers. So, I've actually never met him, and I don't know if he's here.
Now,
No, not here.
Say is not here. His trading card is here in my possession because we currently don't have a mailing address for him. So everybody pass the word around that as soon as you have contact with Say and tell him that all we need is his mailing address, we'll send him his card. It's a free gift, won't cost him anything. And also his award. Send the award and the card to Say wherever he may be. That actually applies to Leonardo Perez too, and to Augusto Chiano. Did I pronounce it right? Augusto Chiano. Well, someone's nodding right, so maybe I got that one right. Maybe I nailed it, as they say.
Yeah, that is.
So those three people need to mail to them their awards. Augusto Chiano, Saya, and Leonardo Perez. So he'll put the word out so that they'll know that they need to get in touch with us or have someone at least send their mailing addresses to us so we can send them their trading cards and awards.
It's funny, Ciudad Obregón is like right in the middle of Mexico. It's probably the most isolated player that I know. It's not a place where tourists go. Anything. It's isolated. It's like living in the mountains in the U.S.
So who's next on the list, Billy?
It's Angel. Again, we just know him as Angel, but officially Angel Huevo Shong. If I said that right. But absolutely, again, a world champion and the King of Fighters. I think specifically King of Fighters 13 was where he made his mark in the world. And first it was Korea, but then Mexico really began dominating King of Fighters in 2014. I mean, really dominating. And most notably at EVO 2016. And what's funny there is, here complimenting Mexico, that's where Angel won. And in order to win, he had to defeat, again, a fellow Mexican, Violent Kane in the finals. It was an awesome battle. And it was funny, if he didn't win, a fellow Mexican would have won. That's why I say the Mexicans were dominating. I mean, when you're winning 1 and 2, who really cares for 3 and 4? I mean, very much, credit to them. But I say that in such a way because if you look back and say 2012, nobody would have believed that the Koreans were going to be unseated, in the King of Fighters. But they absolutely were. And Angel was a part of that. He's a great player. And again, a great countryman. When two guys from the same country can play together, the finals come 1 and 2, smile and congratulate each other afterwards. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. So what do you guys know about Angel?
So let's hear some comments for the rest for the rest of this presentation. Let's have people make some comments and some
Yeah, see, I don't like when I speak of these guys and what I know, you know, whether I've met them or not. I don't know if you guys have all met him. I don't know if you guys all communicate with him. Again, you come from a different focus point than what I do, and so you probably have a different outlook or perspective on it. And it would be really, really good to hear that perspective.
I don't personally know Angel, but I can tell you the King of Fighters is very popular in Mexico, just because there's places where you buy tortillas, and right next to it there was a King of Fighter cabinet, and everyone was just spending the quarters there. Just playing, right? And there was always in every neighborhood that guy that you could never get him out of that machine because he was defeating everyone, every newcomer losing their money. So I'm really happy people was able to make it as far, like getting worldwide recognition. Because definitely. I believe that's the main reason why King of Fighters is so popular in Mexico. It's just like it was between 90s and 2000s that it was everywhere in Mexico. I don't know, like I can't remember any other freaking machine, maybe Final Fight, but just a little bit. But everybody just loved like pushing the buttons, making the combos. So yeah, that's some little background of why it's very popular, King of Fighters.
Like you said, maybe they're playing King of Fighters right next to the food truck. Maybe the loser has to buy the next meal.
Yeah, I mean, it leads to all different sort of bets that you can do. You just need to be creative in that aspect. And talking about creativity is just reading the opponent. So yeah, it's very good. It's very good.
Very good. Very good. That's pretty impressive. I've always wanted to get on a trading card. Different gamers who are literally the peak performers on that game title. So it looks like we have a major peak performer in the League of Legends domain, and it's very satisfying to me because I've always wanted to have the top person on different games be honored on the trading cards. It helps develop the sense that the trading cards are representative, highly representative of the field of player that's out there. So that's very rich. That's very enheartening to hear that we have a League of Legends major star on a trading card in this awards ceremony. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, Billy. Let's hear an applause. Now, who is the next person? Billy Mitchell.
Well, the next person doesn't have a nickname because he's not a player. And the reason why I say it is what I began doing in the year 2000, or around that time, was I began pushing hard and advocating because I thought that this is an industry that is the biggest industry in the world. I mean, it created more dollars than General Motors or Exxon or anybody. And the people that I thought were honored the least were the end users, the players, the people who work hard, who create hype and competition and the desire to want to be involved in the hobby, which is the player. So I began advocating so hard for the players that they should get the recognition and the notoriety that they deserve for their hard work, just like you give to athletes. Well, you should give them to esport athletes. And I admit that my push in that direction caused me to overlook other people who should still be honored. The people who help create things. create the things that we enjoy, and that we obviously use in an effort to push sports forward. Well, Augusto Quijano, he was an artist. I mean, he's a main artist and animator for video games, and they were mostly based on the Mexican culture.
Yeah, 11.
Okay.
We can pick you up by 11.
Okay. I'll let you know.
It highlighted
Do some
many things.
driving and some good games. Right?
Yeah, it's fun.
And
See all these guys.
so many of the things that it highlighted was
See
things
these
in
guys?
Mexican culture.
All these guys are from Mexico.
Things that were
But there's Billy
traits
Mitchell
in Mexico.
for the
Some of you
world
guys,
records in
your
trading
favorite
cards in Mexico.
tequila.
Oh, nice. So he's talking to him.
Some of you guys, your favorite, cantinas,
Yeah, give them the awards.
houses,
And we're
mass
doing all
This is like
fighters,
the award show thing.
things
Yeah.
that had a historical
our
perspective or
system.
cultural perspective
Nice. That's awesome.
of
That's,
Mexico.
that's a good
And I
thing to
thought
put on its
because
experience that
Yeah.
did this kind of convention.
he honored that
Award show.
culture and that history. I
Yeah.
thought
All right.
that
Well,
was
see
so
you
cool.
later.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
night.
I guess in a sentimental way, I thought it's very nice that he remembers where it is he began and where it is he is and what it is he would like to push and promote and have pride in. And his work, I mean, it obviously was successful. I mean, he had a tremendous presence, in Nintendo, like with Nintendo Switch, PC, the PS3, the PS4 too, I think, the Nintendo Wii, probably more that you guys could name. But he absolutely, certainly left his mark in the world. And we're here and we're honoring gamers, but we always have to remember those who contribute to us, behind the scenes, the people that make things happen, the people that create the things that we enjoy, and the hobby that we have such a passion for. And Augusto is certainly one of those people that we would never want to unappreciate or underappreciate. Absolutely. So, again, it's not always that a gamer, like you guys, maybe media people, yes, but it's not always that a gamer meets the people that create these things. I don't know if you guys, or which of you guys may have met him, but that's all. It's always interesting to meet people who create that for which you have a passion.
That was a very good way of expressing it, Billy. Would anybody else like to step forward and or sit up straight and make a statement also about Augusto? Does anybody here personally know Augusto? Oh, okay. So, however, he's distinguished himself throughout the video game industry, not only throughout all of Mexico, but clearly he'll probably be recognized outside of Mexico too. So I'd say that we have an international figure here, someone who has taken his art skill to uplift and venerate the video game industry, the video game community, the video game culture. So I agree with Billy. I love the fact that he used his skill to go and commemorate the community with his art. Turn the story of Mexican culture into a video game. That's a great way of immortalizing the Mexican culture. So we are honored. We're honored to give him an award today, and we don't have his email address. We don't have his. At least I don't have his email address at this time. But essentially, we'll mail his award and his card to him. So thank you. So anybody have any comments on Augusto? So who's next, Billy?
Well, we did most of the video game players first because all of us players did them first. But again, the people that supported things, and I'd rather be honest rather than make a fool of myself. I don't know how to say Francisco's name. Francisco Reyes? Cota? How do you say it?
Cáceres. Cáceres.
Cáceres?
It's difficult.
Actually, you know who's smarter than me? Is my wife. She's a lot smarter than me. She's going to come say this correctly, so that I make sure we don't.
What name?
Here we go.
Cáceres,
Yeah. It's good.
Cáceres, Cota, Pancho, Mega Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can figure out the Pancho Mega Man. But again, a video game player, you never exactly know where they are, what they've done, or what they've accomplished outside of video games. But again, I mentioned Sonora, and he was a graduate of science at the University of Sonora. He's a video game journalist, obviously. That's where I would know him best. You would see him if you went to E3 or actually most any major event. He's done countless reviews. He's interviewed most every video game personality, and in the end, I want to know if he's interviewed any of you guys. But he's written thousands of articles that were obviously related to the gaming culture. He's contributed and spread the news, the history of gaming in Mexico, not just in Mexico, but obviously he may have had a bias towards Mexico because that's what he wanted to do. Again, the fact that he puts together this information, this history, he puts it in a written format. It's out to the media. It's available on the internet. All of that means that history is alive. It's reasonably accurate, and it's going to be there forever for people to read. And that's a contribution that exactly mirrors what it is we try to do here. We try to solidify history so that it's never lost. And he was always promoting not only modern gaming, but he would promote classic gaming too. Again, that's where I would recognize his name. But I didn't just say, I didn't just see him in one side of the gaming world or the other. He did so much, he couldn't help but be all over the board. I think he had a tremendous contribution, and I'm very glad to see that he's being honored here today.
Hey, Billy, what number on the list is he?
We're number 8.
Okay.
Were you guys or any of you guys interviewed by him, or did you meet him at different places?
Mexican runner.
Yeah, I was interviewed by Pancho Mega Man.
And more people who know it here because I interview for me. Bala, por ejemplo, Bala MX, Carlos Daniel Borrego, tú.
Yeah, I can maybe say this probably on behalf of Pancho. He like there's not many journalists in Mexico about gaming. In general, like gaming in Mexico, since I was a kid, like it has always been like, oh, you're wasting your time and all that.
Yeah.
So you should get a real job, right?
Yeah.
Always that topic. But thanks to people like Pancho, and I got an interview from him, but he has always been very professional in every work he does. He's not very intrusive and anything. Like he has your contact details. He's not texting you every day. Like he definitely keeps it very professional. He's a very, very nice person, human being, and also journalist, gaming journalist. He knows a lot of personalities, and in fact, like thanks to him, I was able to get to know more people in the gaming industry. Right, there's not many, and yeah, I want to really thank people who as you say, Billy is just in the written in format. He's doing it in that way, which is really great, right? Like there's many people who make gaming for all of us, like amazing, right? Call it developers, call it journalists, like everyone is involved, and the fact that, you know, like some people get to play really good, but there are some other people that if not for them, we wouldn't be here, or gaming will have not evolved the way it is today. So yeah, thank you for for having such a passion and drive for what you do, and sharing all the amazing stories that every single gamer has behind. Of course, everyone is different. Not everyone has the same story or the same games, right? So yeah, thank you, Pancho.
Well, I
Thank
think
you, Mexican Runa.
people that contributed in the different ways they did. I think because what we do by honoring them, but we take what they did because they put it in an organized fashion. Instead of just being a bunch of guys somewhere who played, who had fun, somebody won, somebody lost. There's some story because they came from different places, and everybody just went home. Then it would be lost to history. It would just be gone.
Yeah.
But because it's organized, because it's reported on, because it's celebrated there, and then eventually places like here, yes, it's part of history, as you say, that's never forgotten, and it rebuilds upon history. And so those building blocks that so many people help us with create the future. Absolutely.
And sorry, I want to say anything that Pancho, I know him by a lot of time by now, and he's just as professional as Tia Marseille just said. And well, you know, he's just so I don't know how to say this, but he has that strength to go and look over for personalities, for players, for all these public characters of the video game world. Maybe he will remember when he interviewed the Master Pacina, who performed Johnny Cage. Maybe I don't remember, Pancho, but he just reach all he wants to reach and go for it, and just don't stop until he gets something. And if, like Mexican Runner said, he's not pushy, he's not inadequate. He just go and say, I'm an indie. I am an indie reporter of video games, and I want to talk to you, and I want that your story could have some visibility from the other world. So I really appreciate Pancho, because maybe in a way we are all here because of him. So thank you, Pancho.
You're welcome, and thank you, Pablo. Thank you for your work.
Nice job, really nice job.
Thank you for all.
We always appreciate when we give somebody recognition, when we again celebrate their contribution, when they're actually here to celebrate it with us or accept it. It's far more satisfying for us. You know, sometimes we do an event and there's someone who's going to be there, and you know, there's just one of life's emergencies and they can't be there. That's very deflating, because you know, you have all this hope and ambition to interact and celebrate that person and meet that person and talk to them and look them in the eye, and then again, because of life's emergencies, they can't be there. That's always a letdown. So it's really good that, you know, again, being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that was very good. So I would personally like to thank Pancho.
Oh yeah.
Because Pancho never gave up. Pancho essentially, along with Pablo, made this thing happen because they had vision. Well, first of all, they wanted to interview me because they wanted to hear just what my perspective was on gaming. Because like Goose, I have an ancient perspective that goes back many, many years, 40 years. And I essentially had interesting story and an interesting perspective to share with their viewers, with their people who listen to their broadcasts, their interviews. And so Pancho and Pablo, working together, interviewed me. And I saw how smart and how nice and how well connected they were to the industry. And so I got inspired. I decided that, well, my dream of doing a national trading card award ceremony for the citizens, for the luminaries of Mexican gaming, maybe I can propose it to Pablo and Pancho, and they will know how to make this thing happen. So even though I proposed the idea to them, it was their receptivity and their openness that won me over. And then I saw that they were high intelligent beings and that there would be no way that this was going to fail. So I put them in charge of going out and reviewing all the gamers in Mexico to come up with maybe a top list of a dozen or so who should be honored in a trading card ceremony. So they did that. And then I had to make a decision. And I chose October 10th because we didn't want it to be too far in the future, but we also had to give it some time to be put together, because I can't begin to tell you how much work it was to do all those trading cards and then do all those awards, and then also all the time of packaging things and the expense of the mailing. And it was a lot of work to get this thing to happen. But the whole thing rests on the goodwill and good character of Pablo and Pancho. So, twin flames of journalism. And the reason I like to honor journalists on trading cards is because journalists are doing oral history, which means that their work, going out and interviewing people, is very, very important historical research, because a lot of the stories and interesting episodes in people's lives that they uncover will not be known from any other source. So you're really making your mark on historical inquiry, and that's why I consider you, the two of you, Pablo and Pancho, so important to honor on a trading card. So thank you, Pablo and Pancho, for what you did to make this happen. Because you see, you planted a because you see, what you've done is you've planted a seed, and we know that seeds grow, and this seed will grow into a tradition of honoring the luminaries of Mexican gaming, and will find itself with an incarnation next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. So there's no reason why this can't become a permanent thing, thanks to your efforts, and thanks to your goodwill and your devotional contributions to the gaming culture. So thank you.
Thank you, Walter. This is an honor for me. It's a pleasure. This award. Thank you.
You're very welcome. 3 cheers for you guys. So who's next, Billy?
Not you.
Huh.
Okay. Okay. This guy I've not had the pleasure of meeting nor speaking to, but Jose Tirado. Again, that's the way we say it. You guys can pronounce it correctly. But he was the first Mexican caster to narrate very large, prestigious events, such as Evo Games in Las Vegas. Some people would say that he was the first one who was the voice of Mexico. And something I'll explain a little later is, in the earliest years, I'm sorry, forgive me, all I have is my honesty to you. The players from Mexico were not taken as serious as they should have been in the early years, because as the years went on, they began crushing the competition. I mean, they did. And to this day, they're absolutely one of the dominant forces. But he was probably, as far as someone who went and spoke and narrated who was the caster at events, he was probably the pioneer representing Mexico at the different events. And what I know him from is Super Smash Brothers. Again, I'm sure he did more than that, but that's the one that sticks in my mind the most for him. And again, what I like here is when we give the overview that I just gave, and then you guys as individuals can give the inside view, because you obviously know the story a little better, than many of us do. So I don't know, you guys met with or worked with or dealt with Jose. I don't know if you were ever at an event, that he was at. So I see we got at least one yes, so why don't I be quiet and you go ahead and speak. Yes, you.
Well, actually, that's me. I'm Toon. Hi. I hope you guys can hear me, because I had some serious internet issues a while ago, and not until recently did I get it to work, so I hope you can hear me. And yes, that's me. So, well, they did tell me to make an acceptance speech, but now that I see what everyone's doing, I think that it's better to just speak my mind as it goes, and, well, it did catch me off guard to be nominated for this and to receive this kind of award, but I do realize that by receiving this kind of award, it kind of proves how truly influential we can be in terms of, inspiring other people to make it big. When I sent my application to be on commentary at EVO, I was like, oh, okay, my work, it did. And now my fellow commentators know that, just give it a little push and you might just make it to the biggest stage in the planet for your respective games. For me, it was Smash. I did commentary at the biggest Smash tournament in history, and it went well. And now I do get to see how influential that might be. Many of my fellow casters now think, okay, well, yeah, I can make it. And I take this as, of course, a blessing and a big honor, but also a responsibility to keep inspiring people to do good and better things with my example. And yes, I do more than Smash, but I'm only now getting to do more than Smash because I know that I can also motivate people in other gaming scenes to do the same. So I just want to take my skills to other places and hope that I can teach someone else to do the same thing and get Mexico to even bigger places.
Well, that was quite a speech, Jose. Essentially,
well, it's funny. What I wanted to touch upon that he said is, if I could put a little pressure on each one of you guys, you're here, you're a part of this, you're being honored, and everybody deserves it, and there's more people that deserve it beyond this. But if that puts a little pressure upon you, as was just spoken, to go out and do the right thing, to push, to pioneer, to set the example, yeah, I hope that's exactly the way you feel, because it'll make all of our efforts, that much more lucrative for what we're trying to do. What you said was absolutely on point. I thought it was awesome. And again, back to my earlier point, is there anyone else here who has worked with him that was at an event, anything, because I think that would be awe-inspiring, to hear about that. And if you haven't been, well, you haven't been. There's always tomorrow.
Very nice.
well, I was going to say that your presentation just now really it captures the whole spirit of why we do these trading card award ceremonies. Why we do the trading cards. No, because it's just one thing to do the trading cards, but the trading card ceremonies add a life to the trading cards that otherwise the trading cards would have in a far lesser degree. I mean, the trading cards have a lot of oomph, and they influence a lot of people in a positive way. But the trading card award ceremonies, as modest as they are, and you can see that there's plenty of room for technological development in how we present this. So we're really, by the way, this is very much at the very beginning. Correct me if I'm right or wrong. Rick, isn't this our first time going out with this to try and experiment with an actual Zoom trading card award ceremony?
Yeah, this is something I've been developing in the last year or two. We have 3 training schools where we train students at the poverty level to get IT degrees, and then we help get them jobs. And I really wasn't happy with Zoom for a lot of different reasons. And as a inventor and a software developer myself, I said, well, let me just create my own. So what we're doing here is the first time, but you're going to see a lot more things. And I really appreciate everything that you have done as part of all your respective contributions to the video game industry. And just stay tuned because, it's been a little rough today, but I've developed lots of software, and this is what I would call beta 1, not even beta yet. But next time you see this, it's something actually everybody on the call here will have the ability to use and put into action to make some really more special things. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. Nice for a beta. Nice for a beta.
What I noticed that was unique was, you have Rick there, and Todd, and Walter, and myself. I think you speak better English than all 4 of us. So, that's all. You could certainly do an event here. Not one of us could do an event in Mexico. Not one of the 4 of us. So, you're far more qualified.
No, I'm really happy that all the gamers attended.
Oh, sorry.
And you're here. It's been an honor to meet you and be able to celebrate your card and your award in this virtual world we live in. So it's makes me really happy that we got to do this.
Well, if you ever need help putting an event together in Mexico and you need somebody to speak, well, give me a call or send me an email. You have it, so
well,
no problem.
I'm actually going to be there in a couple weeks. I don't know, any of you live to Cabo, but we go to Cabo 2 or 3 times a year. So if anybody's close to Cabo, I'd always happy to do one in Cabo.
Yeah, if you're going to Cabo, you're not going there to do any work. You're going there.
Well, I don't know. There could be some work as well.
Some work.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one day we'll all be together. We can sign cards and take pictures with all your awards. That'd be exciting.
That would be a very nice event to have everybody who's on a trading card from Mexico be gathered under one roof. Because one of the special authorizations that I personally have is that I'm authorized to witness people signing their trading cards by Beckett grading system. Beckett is the one who puts the trading cards in the slabs and seals them up and then puts grades on them. And then also has a part of their company that actually assesses and grades the autographs too. So if I witness you doing that, they will accept it as a valid card and a valid autograph. So somehow I managed to acquire that authorization. And so it would be fun to come to Mexico and have everybody autograph their trading cards. And it would do 2 things. One thing would establish the Mexican gaming culture as being a high-level collectible. And it would also put a lot of the famous people who are on the trading cards on a much higher level of acclaim. So it's something that would be a lot of fun to do. So maybe we should be thinking of that. Maybe as we start thinking about the 2nd annual edition of this trading card award ceremony, and we also turn it into an official trading card autograph session.
Oh. Well, Walter, did you mention to everybody before about the International Video Game Hall of Fame and those ceremonies and how that's been built over the years?
No, we haven't discussed that yet.
It might be something to mention because I think it's could be eventually something could go on in Mexico too.
Yeah, we can host it there.
Yeah, that'd be something for us to discuss here at the end here as an option.
So what they're saying is that the International Video Game Hall of Fame, which is the 501c3,
Which in U.S. means it's a charitable.
It's a nonprofit educational charity It's recognized by the U.S. government.
Whoa.
And they have an international. They have the International Video Game Hall of Fame, and every year they have induction ceremonies. But one thing they like to do is to spread the glory around and spread the fun around, and make it something that other places and other people and other groups can also embrace and become very involved in. So what that means is that in theory, the award ceremony part of them for a single year could be, the award ceremony could be conducted in Mexico. And some of the awards for that year's class of inductees, some of those awards could be given out in Mexico. And it would be very, very nice if even some of the people who are being inducted were Mexicans.
Yep.
But quite often, we try to piggyback those award presentations with some other event that's already scheduled to appear there. So be thinking on that. Be thinking
Okay.
about what event goes on in Mexico that would love to have a Hall of Fame induction ceremony as part of their annual, list of scheduled events. So please be thinking about that.
It would certainly draw people who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame from Mexico, but you may actually have some international people come in as well, which is always neat.
And it is called the International Video Game Hall of Fame. So
Yeah,
it fits.
exactly.
Absolutely. And this year, I think we're going to have a meeting next week. So the class of the 2020 will be inducted sometime in November virtually through this software. So this will be our second attempt to make a good video
It'll be much better.
stream.
Much better.
So I'll send everyone the link, but it'll be a great, we got some great inductees this year. And you can go to, if you go to ivgoff.info, so IVGHOF.info, you can see the classes from the past and the classes that were inducted this year.
We could send that information out to them. So,
Oh, absolutely.
but the other thing is, it'd be very nice when we do that ceremony in November, if we speak of what it is we've done here today, the people we've honored, and in fact, in the future, we hope to bring them and have them have a presence at the Hall of Fame. It'd be good to further announce what the people that we've done and honored here.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we ready?
There is one or two in the list, right?
Oh yeah,
Just-
I'm ready.
Okay.
The next gentleman, again, I have not had the pleasure of meeting. I simply know him as Pablo. His second name is gonna get me. You ready? Pablo Lezama.
Good. Good.
I got it?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. All right, this is easy. First of all, I know what I know. I know what I have written here, and I know what I've learned right here already. But absolutely a freelance writer for not quite 10 years. I think about 8 years. Gamer history, culture. All of the most important things in the industry for the past several years. But what's really neat is a CEO in the media world, absolutely focused on the geek culture, with the emphasis on video games. And what's funny is, as we go back to the 1980s, if you were in school and somebody called you a geek, I mean, those were fighting words. You know, now when we call you a geek, that's very complimentary. It's very affectionate. But absolutely, having known of Pablo and his work, and again, never having met him before, so it would be good that each one of you who have met him or had interaction with him, if you speak about it, that would be very valuable here today. What happened? Nobody met him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to say that.
I'm a ghost.
Okay, we're ready.
Oh. Well. Yeah, Pancho.
No, go, Pablo.
No.
Pablo is a independent journalist of video games in Mexico. He works hard every year, and for me it's a honor. The Pablo is from the Pablo Award is very happy for me. Congratulations, Pablo.
Thank you, Pancho.
Okay.
Gracias, Pancho.
Gracias.
As Tun Laguna said, there is a speech, but well, I'm sorry, I have to do something first.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. 8 years ago, I took a decision that I wanted to do something more about my video game likeness. So I began doing some database about what I call video game holidays, and it's been just a hard work. And I wanted to just write, because there is so much audio and visual media, and I wanted the people to just read again. So 8 years ago, I began to write. Thanks for a friend in Venezuela who gave me that courage, and I, over the years, connected with some people like Pancho and other journalists and other enthusiasts of video games, and created a couple of enterprises, that gave more wide vision about video games. Not just that's a game, you can play it like that, and you can do specific actions with that. No, it's about how you feel, who do that thing, who is involved in everything, and how excited you can be about something, and how sad you can feel about what was about you to play. So now it's Geek Lack, the enterprise I have now with almost 30 people who share about movies or series, that geek culture. But I always have this crush on video games. I'm just so in love with them, and in backwards and in the actual video games. And I just hope that I can just make better knowledge about the video games in all the people. They are just don't like one toy you can get and throw away. It's just a memory, something you lived on, and you can remember that because what you were playing and what were you hearing, and all that was your life in that moment that you played it. And I just hope that my work in video games give the people those feelings that I feel when I play them. So that's the thing I want to do more than being a journalist or being a gamer. It's to translate to everyone in Latin America and in Spanish how cool are video games, and how everyone that played those could be happy about it.
Yeah, awesome.
Is there anyone else who's interacted with Pablo before today?
Walter, maybe.
Well, let me get close to the microphone.
Y yo, Jagger.
Hey, Todd, mute him.
Well,
You already spoke, but say anything.
I think he's eating something.
well, no, I'm not eating anything now, but I just did. But essentially, Pablo and Pancho 2, and Peter, Toon Lagoon, and the Son of Goose, I'm saying this directly to you, but I'm saying this really to all of you. It's a very enjoyable and pleasant sort of surprise that the Mexican gaming community is alive and well, because it was almost like there was a dark curtain that was pulled across the border, and I was not able to really tell what was going on in Mexico, and that could have been my own failing or whatever, and I couldn't determine who should be honored on a trading card, and also I couldn't determine who I could contact to help me put people on trading cards. So it was like a mystery. But I'm so pleased to see that the curtain has now been pulled back, and that the Mexican gaming culture is very much alive and well, and that this little production that we're doing tonight, that we wanted to make it the best we could. Thanks to Rick, and thanks to Todd, and thanks to Billy, we wanted to make it the best we possibly could under the circumstances of limited resources, limited technology, and also limited time and limited finances. But it, like I said earlier, plants a seed and shows us the direction that we need to go in to make something bigger and better every year. And it was your enthusiasm and your brightness as a person, but also your savviness as a gamer who's completely plugged into the culture and plugged into the community and very knowledgeable about the society of gaming in Mexico, that inspired me to say, look, we got to do this, because you brought it out of me. You just made it happen. And it's because of your goodwill, your good character, and you're a smart person. So thank you so much for inspiring us with this first edition of a Mexican trading card award ceremony. Even though it's modest, it shows where we can go, and it shows what we can turn this into. So thank you very much. So really, I'm thanking you on behalf of lots and lots of future Mexican gamers who are going to be honored in a series of trading card award ceremonies. So let's hear it from.
Well, as Walter said, as the years went on, we didn't always take things as serious as we should have. But the presence of Mexico and Latin America as a whole became stronger and stronger and stronger in the gaming community. And as people in Latin America, especially Mexico, began to dominate different categories, every moment seemed like the right moment to reach out and do it. And each time we wanted to reach out and do this, we always wanted to do it on a bigger scale, a grander scale. Gee, what event might we be at? Until finally it came to the front of our mind that we're never going to make it better.
It's 9 o'clock.
You can always correct the situation. You can always improve it. You can always make it better. But you're not ever going to be able to do that if you don't start it. So finally, the idea came to come together as we have here, because as Walter said, it will only get bigger and stronger from this initial start. And to be honest, like, look at everybody here, the conversations, what we've had, the way we've honored people. It's really cool that in 20 years or 50 years, you'll look back and say, man, I was there right when it began. We look back at Life magazine in 1982, which is considered the birth of esports. And it's just so cool for me to look back at that picture, as silly as I look in the picture with those other guys, and say, man, I was right there. That is like just so awesome to look back and know that you were a part of something in the beginning that led to so much more. So you guys are here. You're a part of everything that's happened here. If you weren't here, if you weren't helping make this happen, then what people see in 20 or 50 years from now would not have happened. You should always give yourself that credit. always make sure that you're your own cheerleader and that you recognize that. I always say, you have to be your own cheerleader. If you're not, no one else will. And I mean, every single person here, along with the people that have supported you, they deserve that recognition and that sense of satisfaction that Walter speaks about.
Well stated, Billy. Anybody have a comment on all this?
Here in Mexico, we have a lot of gamers and people around gaming. So, first of all, it's an honor to be here and to be, like you said, Billy, the first ones. And I know everyone here that came from Mexico. It's just very pleased to hear you all. And I know this is gonna be such a first step into a larger world. So I'm really happy about this, about being here like the first ones. And the goal is to have many of these ceremonies to get those people to need to be recognized about what have they done in the video game culture, but they are also from Mexico, who is just full of players, full of gamers.
Yeah, and definitely we'll get the sound corrected at the end, and we'll get this video out with the sound. And if you can spread it to your family and friends, and get the word out there, we can get more trading cards created in the Mexico gaming industry.
And also the Polish industry.
Yeah, and Russian, and Chinese.
But first, Walter, we have one more name on the list.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the one, I actually skipped this one. It's the one I hate the most. I guess it's the one I love the most. So, it's one that's very special to me. And I'm surprised, Walter, that you didn't say, hey, what happened? You skipped him, because he wasn't the last on the list. But I never do his second name. I always call him Carlos, but Carlos Daniel Borrego. Absolutely, an absolute prince of a nice guy. I met him twice. The second time was more enjoyable than the first time. I'll explain why that was. Well, it was 2007, and Bandai Namco had just developed Pac-Man World Championship Edition, and it was being released on Microsoft. And Microsoft held a contest, a worldwide contest. I think they said 6 million people participated. Various parts of the world, they brought people. And of the 6 million people, 12 of them were brought to New York City. Each person that came to New York City was able to bring somebody with them, which was really cool because, some people like myself, brought your wife. And actually, I brought my two youngest kids too, because my oldest daughter lived in New York, so we made it a little vacation. There was a guy from England who brought his son. So Daniel came from Mexico. Carlos came from Mexico. There were people from Taiwan, New Zealand, Austria, Canada, Japan, Mexico, the U.S. for a while. I'm sure I'm missing more. But again, all I have is my honesty for you. Please forgive me when I tell you that in the early days, we didn't take Mexico as serious as we should have. And we were like watching real close. We had a few of us from Norte Americana. And we were there, and we had a few of us that were like championship level. And there was a guy from Japan who said, hey, we gotta watch out for this guy. And we're kind of watching everybody, and we're just gonna stomp on everybody and squash them. It's not gonna be a problem. And so we're going through, and not paying the respect and attention to everybody we should have. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bang, 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 bang. Every one of us got knocked out of it. And I'm sitting there watching, and now it's the finals. and it was a gentleman whose name is lost because he came in second. He's from Austria, and then there's Carlos from Mexico, and I'm like, man, how did this happen, man? We're all these like, we're all these big, tough guys on Pac-Man. We're just gonna take care of everybody here. And all of a sudden, I mean, we're just knocked out and we're watching from the sideline. And I'm next to the commentator, and I had been watching Carlos, and I said to the guy, as they're playing, and the game's going on, because the game just went on for a few minutes, I said to him, I said, if it's even close towards the end, there's no way this guy is going to beat Carlos, because Carlos is the strongest finisher I've ever seen on that game. And it was really close, and the guy from Austria was a little ahead. He was going to win. No way. When Carlos was that close within striking distance, and absolutely Carlos came back and won. And so, in one sense, obviously, I'm very happy for him. In the other sense, I'm walking around like, what happened, man? We were supposed to win this. We got whipped. And so, it was kind of funny. And my son was 8 years old, and my daughter was 9 years old. And they were like, Daddy, what happened? How come you didn't win? I go, I don't know. I'll tell you about that later. But he was a great guy, and he was a lot of fun. He was really personable, and I was really happy to speak to him, because I was very happy that he spoke such good English. And at that particular event, Professor Tori Ayatwani, who was the developer, the creator of Pac-Man, he was there. That was actually the first time I had met him. I didn't meet him when I was in Japan, and everybody met him. And I thought, well, gee, I had the honor of meeting this guy. And I said, I had the honor of getting beaten by this guy. And I said hi, and I said bye to Carlos. And I just, to be honest, I didn't think I would see him again. But then I had the pleasure, I truly did. When I was in Iowa at one of Walter's events, where Carlos came up to the event, and what was really neat was he brought, again, a family member with him. Because as you go to these events, I guess I give a little lecture here. If you bring your wife or you bring your child, it exposes them to what it is you do, what you enjoy. But it gives them a sense of pride, because it shows them what you're really good at. Everybody here we're talking about, in whatever it is you do, in whatever way it is you contribute to the industry, I mean, you're amongst the best in the world. I mean, you're beyond the top 1%, because you're willing to do what 99% of the people are not willing to do. He was there, and I had a lot of fun with him. And when I saw him the second time in Iowa, I go, this guy again, man? I mean, didn't he have no fun once? Thunder, And go sit in the corner. I don't want anyone to see it, And but he wasn't. He was really good, and I have since talked to him, of course, and I really enjoyed talking to him, his company, and I look forward to seeing him again. And every once in a while, I would ask Walter, gee, how's Carlos, or is he coming to an event? And since I saw him in Iowa, which was quite a few years ago, so it's really cool to be able to speak about him here. And I guess I'm here to tell you that if all of us, tough Pac-Man guys, went to New York City to all jump on him and gang up on him and beat him, and like a wrestler going to the ring, he knocked 4 of us out. I guess he deserves every honor that he's getting here. He really does. It was a lot of fun. And the old joke was, when I saw him in Iowa, that I could extract my revenge on him. We could play, but first of all, there wasn't a Pac-Man there, and there wasn't a Pac-Man world there, and it would not have been a world championship. He won under pressure, with the lights on him, the attention focused. When you win, and you win under that pressure, you're truly a champion, and that's what he is. And he certainly belongs on this list here, and that's why I skipped him, because I wanted to speak at the end very sentimental about him and what he's accomplished. I think it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, Walter, you've had quite a bit of interaction with Carlos, so I think you should speak.
Well, you covered bases so well that it's hard to add anything. But essentially, he was soft-spoken, and he, he his firepower he concealed successfully beneath the surface. He hid his firepower below the surface, and no one could see it coming. But he just somehow. I remember some of the other players commenting on it, saying, "Oh, look what his strategy is." I can't remember what his strategy is right now, but I remember their comments that he had the smartest strategy. And essentially, one of them said, for some reason, he knows the game in and out much better than anybody else there at the contest. So either he had earlier access to the game, or either he just is a great student, and he solved the game and understood the game and employed more advanced strategies than anybody else had been able to think up by the time of this event.
Well, what happened was you basically played real, authentic Microsoft Pac-Man, the original arcade version on Microsoft, and those top 12 players went to New York. None of us knew what was going on, and it was the first time that all 12 of us sat down. The night before we saw Pac-Man World Championship Edition, and the next day we played. So on an equal playing field, he learned it faster than the 11 others of us. He learned it faster, he learned it better, he performed better, and I guess he won fair and square. I'd like to tell you that he had earlier access, that's why he won, but he didn't. He won because he won. There's not a lot to say about it.
Well said. Well said. I'm glad my mismemory was corrected. Actually, but I do remember that they were very amazed by his very advanced grasp on the fundamentals of the game, and that's what led him to win. So in other words, he just didn't luck into it. He didn't just by accident win. There were some very serious competitors there, like Richard Glasshutner, the Australian who came in second place.
There was a guy there named Billy Mitchell.
Yeah, he came in last place.
Yeah.
No, but they were. What it was there was 12 of us who played a game, all 12 at one time, and the last two dropped out. So then the top 10 played, and they dropped out. The top 8 played and dropped out, all the way down to the top 2. And so you might say not only did he win, but he had to win 6 times over. So no, he's absolutely a champion. 100%.
Oh, congratulations to Carlos Daniel Borrego. So it was very nice because he and his wife came to Iowa. We honored him there on a trading card originally back in 2013. And that was a very, very rich experience. And he gave me a nice memento of Mexico, which was a jeweled turtle made of colored glass. It was very nice gift, which I still haven't thanked him for. So I think we should call it quits here, because we can always have another one of these, which we will. But I want to thank everybody for coming and attending. I want to thank everybody for all their accomplishments, congratulate them on all their accomplishments, and warn them that they're going to be pursued again and again in the future to participate, because this is only the beginning. Like I said, we planted a seed. The Mexican Trading Card Awards, the Mexican Trading Card Awards ceremonies has now enjoyed its first year, and there's going to be many more years to come. We'll be thinking of who we should recommend for trading card awards in the future, because this thing now has a life to it. Thanks to Pablo and Pancho and Peter and Son and Toon Laguna and everybody else who's plugged in. We have a valuable property that we can turn the spotlight on Mexico. And that's what this does. It turns the spotlight on people who deserve to be honored, but they're just in the past, there's no device to honor them. Now, this is the device. This is the instrument for honoring them. So, 3 cheers for everybody.
Before we forget, I want to thank Brandon, our translator, for hanging out with us. Definitely helping in the beginning, getting me all prepared. So thanks, Brandon, for being with us.
Welcome.
Thank you again. And thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Rick donated his newfangled technology that the designers and the programmers were working with him, maybe even today, or certainly within the last few days.
24/7. But we appreciate, I think anybody has an idea. I think we have a lot of smart people here and people enthusiastic about video games, love hearing the stories. And I think anybody has ideas, that's why I wanted to create this, because this platform, it's kind of think of the game community, and it's not like we have to go call Zoom to try to make something. We can make it whatever we want to. So any ideas, just throw them out, and you never know what we can put together. So thanks again.
Yep. Yeah, thanks everyone for being patient and being with us tonight.
Well, I think that.
Thank you very much.
I think when we do this, as we set a footprint for the future, it's kind of like when you see the Olympics, when you see sports, esports, video games are very much the same. When you watch the Olympics, it's something that binds us as a world together. There's no politics. Whatever tension each one of us has in our own life, anxieties or struggles we're going through, it's all removed for the moment. Every one of us enjoys each other's company. Again, think of the Olympics. You never really see anything that's negative there. You see friendly competition. You see hard work. You see people contributing, and each person having an appreciation how the other person or other group or even other country participates and contributes. There's nothing but good spirit that comes from this. And it's something that I think we should push very, very hard for in the future, every opportunity we have, because it absolutely is a celebration of human achievement and spirit.
Thank you, everybody.
I just want to quickly thank, Walter and Billy and Rick and also Todd. Thank you so much for putting all this together, as well as thanking. I forget his name. Is Carlos? No, it's not Carlos. Pancho. No, yeah, Brandon. Pancho, but you. Jagger or something.
Yep. Jagger.
Yeah. Jagger. Yeah, no, thank you so much. It has been very nice. It's definitely an honor to be in this first Mexican edition of the Trading Cards Awards. Thank you for putting this, and yeah, it's just really amazing to meet you in general, right? Because now I can put some people was very recognizable, like Billy and Walter, but the rest of us, I guess, I didn't, like, the name didn't, I couldn't picture your face. Now I can put a face to the name, and that is really amazing. So it's very nice to meet you, and thank you for.
And that's what gaming is all about: getting everyone together.
Yep.
Yeah, and don't, just be aware that even though there might be some aspects of this that were a little clumsy tonight, I thought it went over really well, and you can see the spirit of this, how it truly has a destiny ahead of it. So,
yeah,
congratulations and thank you very much.
I want to say a message for 1 minute, please.
Yes.
This next message is in Spanish. Quiero agradecer y dedicarle este premio a mi señor padre, don Pancho, que está en el cielo, a mi familia y a todas las personas que hicieron esto posible. Es un sueño para mí estar este día en esta ceremonia tan importante, con personalidades que yo tanto admiro desde niño, como el señor Walter Day, que yo sí sé bastante de su historia, la he leído desde niño, el señor Billy Mitchell, que es una leyenda del juego, de Video Game of the Century. It's a great honor in tonight. Y todos los que hacen esto posible, Rick Barretto, se me van por ahí otros nombres, a todos también, y la verdad es muy emocionante, y creo que como dijo Walter y Billy, pasarán los años y pues nuestro nombre va a estar inscrito ahí, y la verdad es algo muy, muy emocionante. Ojalá en México también los medios grandes nos volteen a ver todo esto de la cultura de los videojuegos, porque hace falta bastante aquí en México. Creo que apenas estamos en pañales, y esto la verdad es muy emocionante, y creo que se está dando un buen paso. Eso es lo que yo podría aportar. Thank you for this award, and very appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice statement. Thank you.
If he can talk in Spanish, I can talk in Spanish, right?
See?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that what he said was basically every one of us that have had the level of success and good fortune we've had here, really every single one of us has support from our family. It's almost not possible to have the level of success if you don't have the support, from your family or your loved ones. So that's why not only should thanks go out to each and every person that we speak of, we should that thanks should go out to your family as well, very, very much.
Yeah, of course. And well, I want to say a little bit of what I wanted to say earlier in my speech, but in Spanish because Mexican. Bien, como lo acaba de decir Billy, la familia juega un papel muy importante en esto. Yo estoy aquí gracias a mis padres que me compraron videojuegos y miraban hacia otro lado en las noches para que yo pudiera jugar un poco más. A mis amigos, a las personas con las que he jugado durante todos estos años, a un amigo de Venezuela que me impulsó a escribir, a perder el miedo para escribir y poder empezar a dar un poco más acerca de los videojuegos que solo jugar, a todos mis compañeros de prensa independiente y también a todos aquellos que están trabajando conmigo ahorita en GeekLac, una empresa que busca mucho esta raíz prehispánica también. Y pues a mi esposa, I'm married, a mi esposa que she's just amazing, she just keep pushing me for my dreams, me impulsa a continuar con mis sueños, incluso en algo que muy poca gente le da crédito, que son los videojuegos. Entonces, a todos ellos, gracias por permitirme mantener mi sueño de enaltecer la historia y la cultura del videojuego. Thanks all for keep me going here in the impulse of make general knowledge about the history and the culture of the video games. Pues hay que disfrutar todo lo que hagamos alrededor de los videojuegos. Everything we can do around the video games, we just have to enjoy it. Gracias.
Gracias. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much. Okay. If there's no final words from anybody, I think we should cut the channel, or otherwise we're going to really talk all night.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
And I will get the recording up by tomorrow sometime, probably post it on Walter's site somewhere, but we'll communicate out to where that will be.
Thank you
I can email the link to all their emails.
You bet.
Yeah, Todd, I think if you keep them well informed, it'll be interesting for them to see what you're doing at home and how that goes.
Yeah. Well, great
Okay.
show, guys. That was really
Yeah.
good.
And thanks to Todd for helping us put all this together. Brandon too, couldn't do
Yeah,
it
Brandon.
all by herself. So
Thank you,
It
Rick.
Billy
went
and
really
obviously
well.
Walter
Happy.
too.
Thank you.
Obviously,
Thank you.
Thank you, Yerman.
Thank you.
Adios.
thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
See you later. Adiós, adiós.
Thank